The World of Outlaws Sprint Car season opens tonight, and we'll talk some changes to the full-timers group, plus some interesting things that happened with Donny Schatz last night during practice. We'll also get into Lucas at East Bay, the Short Track Super Series, and more. Let's go. It's Wednesday, February 7th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily. Before we get rolling, today's show is being supported by Jeremy Elliott's SprintCarUnlimited.com. If you're a sprint car fan, there is nobody in the dirt racing media space that covers the sport like he does. SprintCarUnlimited.com has breaking news, analysis, commentary, videos, the weekly podcast, and plenty more. A subscription to SprintCarUnlimited.com is only $35 a year. That's less than $3 a month. I myself have been a paying subscriber for a long time now. His deeper dives on stories with all the extra legwork he does with research and interviews is just unbeatable to understand the bigger picture. You hear me reference him all the time on the show just because he's such a great resource. Beyond SprintCarUnlimited.com, Jeremy has also made a big push into YouTube this year and has launched his daily 90 at 9 shows and his deep dive shows on Thursdays. The 90 at 9 is a quick video segment he posts Monday through Friday exploring a sprint car topic, and the deep dive features long-form interviews with the sport's biggest names. Deep dive guests so far have already included Brian Carter, Kyle Larson, Kevin Swindell, and Knoxville's Jason Reed. He's also got a new show concept coming on Tuesday nights in the future, so watch out for that as well. Sprint Car Unlimited YouTube channel pairs very nicely with the website content and is free to subscribe to. I'll have links below in the video description to the site and the YouTube channel, so subscribe to both and tell Jeremy that Dirt Tracker sent you. At Volusia on Tuesday, we had another round of UMP modified action plus sprint car practice. The six-pack of modified wins went to Kyle Strickler, Tom Berry Jr., Charlie Mefford, Tyler Nicely, Lucas Lee, and the legend Ken Schrader. Nicely is now 2 for 2 on the week, so already just a couple days in, already got 2 Gator trophies. The modified teams are back again tonight for another round. They will be mixed in with the very first World of Outlaws sprint car program of 2024. The DIRTRACKR national schedule is a bit different this year with the All-Stars no longer in existence. Previously, we'd get the first 2 nights of sprint car action as All-Star sanctioned. Then things would switch over to Outlaws the next couple of nights. But now they've added a 4th Outlaw night to the mix to kind of make up for it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all 12,000 to win and 1,200 to start main events. And Saturday is 20,000 to win and 1,600 to start. So nice money available all this week at Volusia. Sprint car teams had 3 practice sessions last night with Brent Marks leading the first 2 and Buddy Kofoid topping session 3. Marks was overall quick time on the night. There was a news item that came out of yesterday with Kraig Kinser and the Premier Motorsports team announcing they had signed on for the full Outlaw slate this year. Kraig has been an Outlaw regular plenty in the past, but went to a pick-and-choose schedule for 2023. He picked up a fast win at Montpelier in June. The addition of Kinser should bring the Outlaws to 13 full-timers, but it sounds like maybe it's only 12. There are questions about the status of Noah Gass. He had originally announced his return for Season 3, but he was not present at the Outlaw Media Day last week and did not participate last night for practice. We'll see if they show up tonight, but I don't know that I'd put my money on that. A quick side note, too. I've had a few questions about somewhere to see all of the different sprint car paint schemes for the year. On the Dirt Tracker Twitter account, I retweeted a link yesterday where you can find a bunch of them. Steve Thornton over at mastergassers.com has done a nice compilation, and his site is becoming a really good place for information. He was actually one of the first contributors to the Slider email newsletter, so check him out over there at mastergassers.com. One interesting thing that came out of last night's sprint car practice at Volusia was the setup on Donny Schatz's TSR 15 sprint car. I was sent a photo of it from early in the day, asking some questions, and then sprint car driver and past road racer Sean Rahal tweeted about it later in the evening. The first photo was from Peter Turford's Southern Ontario Sprints Facebook page. You can see a small device on the back of the frame that I have circled there next to the Advanced Auto Parts logo. There also seems to be some added stuff happening around that left front shock area, also circled. And in Rahal's tweet, he referenced a photo from the Outlaw Twitter account where you can see Schatz's car in the staging lanes and some stuff just inside that left side body panel behind the seat. What we're looking at here is a fairly complex data acquisition system. These types of systems are not allowed to be used during race nights, but since last night was just open practice, it was legal to run. These types of systems are used pretty regularly by some of the top dirt late model teams, but you don't see them as much with the sprint cars. When I had a chance to go see Brandon Shepard test at Millbridge towards the end of 2023, they were using one. And you can see some bits and pieces of it in this photo. They had the system mounted behind the seat, I think, as well, and a display mounted in the cockpit, which they would look at after each run. Thanks to the info from Ray Hall and my guy Bozy on Twitter, we know this was a Motec setup on Schatz's car. These Motec systems can cost anywhere from $3,000 to up over $20,000, depending on how they are configured. Based on what was seen, the estimate for the setup on the 15 is probably towards the higher end of that cost spectrum. And they can collect data on driver inputs like steering, throttle, brake usage, plus suspension and engine information. According to a friend at the track, Schatz's team was gathering info on suspension bits like the torsion arms, shock position, they were doing tire temps, ride height, and a bunch more. We know that the last few seasons have been a struggle for Schatz on the 15 to try and regain some of their past form, and it can't hurt to gather some more information on that on how that car is working. It's not a simple task, though, to digest what these systems output, and it sounds like maybe the team is getting some extra support in that area. We'll see if they're able to translate that data that they're getting into any sort of meaningful performance gains on the racetrack. It looks like we should be pretty close to 40 sprint cars tonight, kind of based on what we saw last night for practice. That includes all of the Outlaw regulars, a bunch of high-limit teams, and more. We should have cars on track around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and if you aren't headed for Volusia, you can watch it live over on Dirt Vision. At East Bay last night, the Lucas Show was again handled by Rocket Chassis. We talked about their East Bay dominance on the show yesterday. Rocket cars took the top 3 starting positions for the main event, and it was Hudson O'Neal and the house car taking the victory. Tyler Erb led 7 laps early, but it was mostly O'Neal out front. Not a points-paying event, but still O'Neal's 3rd series win of the season. Dalton Wilson ended up second yet again. That's second place finish number 9 for his career. Still looking for that first Lucas win. Jonathan Davenport rounded out the night's podium. A big field of cars is on hand this week for the final Winter Nationals at East Bay ever. 75 participated last night. We've got a similar setup for tonight. The race bumps up to $7,000 to win. If you can't get there, you can watch it live over on Flow Racing. Last night's Flow broadcast at East Bay included Dale McDowell in the booth with James Essex and Dustin Jarrett. I really enjoyed his commentary. He was a natural on the mic, and I think hopefully we'll get a chance to hear from him more often on these broadcasts. I heard the Dirt on Dirt guys say on the drive home that this was the first time he'd ever been included on a race broadcast before. But a lot of good context there, and the driver stuff I feel like really elevates these broadcasts. Elsewhere tonight, the Short Track Super Series 2024 season begins at Alltech Raceway down in Florida as well. They had practice last night and more than 60 Northeast Modifieds on the property. Alex Payne went quick time on the evening. They'll race each of the next 4 nights. They'll have 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, and 10,000 win shows coming up. A bunch of big names have made the trip south, including Matt Shepard, Stuart Friesen, Eric Rudolph, Peter Britton, Larry White, and a lot more. This has turned into a nice few weeks down south for these mod guys, with both the Short Track Super Series and Super Dirt Car Series in action early. After this weekend, these teams will shift over to Volusia starting next Wednesday. If you want to watch at Alltech tonight, you can do that live on Flow if you're not headed for the racetrack. Looking around at the other dirt racing podcasts this week, Wing Nation was back yesterday, and their first 2 guests were Brad Doty and me. I talked a bunch of High Limit and World of Outlaws topics with Steve Post and Aaron Evernham. Thanks to them and producer Kraig Moore for having me on, so check that one out. Elsewhere, QuickTime has Brent Marks, Dirt Tracks and Rib Racks has Cody Bova, Hoagie's Garage has Mick Sollers and Wes Irwin. Turn 2 Terribles has Austin Reed, Ohio Dirt has Creed Kemenal, and there are new episodes of The Dirt Reporters, Dirt Track Confessions, and Racing Roundup. To check out all of these shows and more, head over to DIRTRACKR.com/podcasts. That's it for the daily show today. The streaming schedule is starting to ramp up for the year, so make sure to keep an eye on DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight if you're curious about your viewing options. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.